Let's go ahead and present. Okay, let's do a quick audio and video check. Can everybody let me know if they can see me and hear me? Good to go on Facebook? All right, great. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. It's 11 o'clock. It's the Build a Mastermind, Get Your First Mastermind Challenge, Mastermind Client Challenge. This is Brad Hart. I am so excited and grateful that you're here for day 2. I hope you had a blast on day 1. I read through everybody's posts and comments and everything I could see. There was quite a few of them, hundreds and hundreds. So I really appreciate you guys playing full out and showing up. And we just want to keep that momentum going today because it's all about momentum. And we have a little bit of a fun visual today for the beginning slide, which is just that consistency of just, hey, we're just going to keep this rolling. We're going to keep this cranking through, and we're going to keep that momentum. So let's get started. And let me get rid of that. Let's see. Later, tomorrow. Okay. No updates right now. All right, great. So your mastermind niche or niches, whatever, however you want to call it. The riches are in the niches, and we're going to teach you how to find your niche today. Yesterday, we got clear on your why and what type of mastermind you're going to build. And let's hear from the audience. Let's put yours in the chat now. Let's hear about your niche. And let's hear about the type of mastermind, the 1, 2, 3. So this is, again, starting from scratch. This is either using your existing network or partnering with an expert. So that's the thing. And then your why as well. And not the polished mission statement, but the real driving force. It could be 1 or 2 words. Like, this is the reason that I do what I do. I don't belong, or I want control, or, I want to make an impact, or I want to be fulfilled, or I want to be loved by people, or I want to, whatever it is that drives you. No judgments. Let's hear about it in the chat. Awesome. So I can be safe, to make a difference, to feel powerful, perfectly valid reasons, all of them. And it's really whatever drives you. And that's perfect. So now you know how to get leverage on yourself so you can make this happen and get more momentum. And I'm really grateful and proud that you all are being so vulnerable and authentic here. This is great. So make sure to complete the homework every day, and make sure you're celebrating your wins and progress by posting in the groups. Just a little logistical thing. We have a lot to cover here in 5 days. We want to make sure that you're utilizing all of these tools that we're giving you and putting them into effect in real time. That's why we only do an hour of content each day, so that you have time to go ahead and implement as well. So let's get this rolling and talk about niches. So like I said, there's riches in the niches, and the closer to a niche that you can find that's not broad, but it's very defined. It's not too specific where it's like, okay, this is not for anybody. Because like there's 2 problems that people run into, right? They have their niche is way too broad and it's too many people and they're really targeting nobody, or it's way too specific and there's really not enough people in that niche to make it work. Right? They might find a few, but it's just not clear enough and it's not big enough. So you want to find the perfect place on the demand curve, which is like, there's 1 million people that are willing to pay $1 for something, and there's one person that's willing to pay $1 million for something. You got to find where on that curve, are there thousands of people willing to pay thousands of dollars for the thing that you have? And that's where the riches and the niches training is going to get you today. So the depth of creating your niche is insane, and your niche is really described as a benefit statement. So for example, I help leaders, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, experts, authors to build, to add $100,000 to their business in 5-10 hours a month through mastermind groups. So that could be an example of my benefit statement. And then I would follow that up with, would this be of value to you or not? So when you're thinking about your benefit statement that we're going to craft today, you want to think about who it's for. You want to think about the problem that you're solving, and you want to think about how you're doing that. So I help blank to blank through blank. With me so far? So we're going to piece this together. We're not going to have to just come out of from cold start. We're going to actually think about who, then we're going to think about the problem that they have, and then we're going to think about the solution. And we're going to give you additional tools to do this with. So let's get right into it. So there are all kinds of mastermind niches. You could do a real estate mastermind, a roundtable or dinner mastermind. I did the Bali experience. I've done service-based masterminds where we have a giving back component. So we'll do a couple days of content, and then we'll go and do a community project where we give back or build a house or feed people or whatever it is. And then, of course, there's always the Build a Mastermind program, which is essentially a mastermind for masterminds. So you can go meta on these as well. And a lot of the most successful masterminds I found are, I've done something that you want to do, and I'm bringing in experts and helping you to do that as well. Or I want to learn how to do this thing, and I've brought in experts to help you do this thing. So there's specialized knowledge. It's really clear that there's a specific type of person that wants to do a specific thing, and using that methodology to do that. Um, okay, here we go. So example, a mastermind for cops we talked about yesterday with Chris. This is something that I didn't even know was going to work, but I knew how to test it. So we tested it out. We did the market research. We got the feedback, and we eventually made this mastermind for cops. And Chris went from his first beta group to over 100 clients in his first year. He got his advertising going. He took some of his best Instagram posts and put some juice behind them, and just created a really simple funnel, which ended up getting him 100 clients in his first year. And he's able to leave his job. And he had a bigger month that year. I think it was in October that year, his first year out, where he made more in a month than he made in an entire year before as a cop or a personal trainer, or anything he had done before that. Now, again, you got to keep consistent. You got to keep doing it. But this is not the same as collecting a paycheck, but the upside potential is very much there. Then there's, for example, Jasmine, who runs masterminds for event goers, or she did in the past, where, they either read Think or Grow Rich, or they went to UPW or one of Tony Robbins' events, and they have all this, they're fired up, they have all these great notes, but they haven't learned how to implement it yet. So she helped them to really implement what they've learned at these events. So that could be an example. There's masterminds for automation. So I have my friend and client, Brian, who I just actually saw in Scottsdale this weekend. We had lunch. And he has a business that helps people to automate things. He's worked with Dean Graziosi and Brendan Burchard and Larry King and all these really big influencers on how to automate their businesses and their back ends. And he has a lot of trust and credibility in that space. So when people want to automate their business and build systems and build, a marketing engine and a fulfillment engine and a sales engine, as opposed to a lot of people doing a lot of jobs, then they come to him to learn how to do that. Or they come to him because maybe they have an automated business, or they have, let's say, an agency or something where they need to get better systems in place and run that business so it doesn't run them. They could come to him as well because he has that experience. A men and women's mastermind. So couples, relationships, anything to do with dating, whether it be whether you need to learn how to find the right partner, whether it's you're in a relationship and maybe you want to learn to be a better partner in that context, or perhaps even, unfortunately, relationships end. You need a support group of people that are going through a divorce or a child custody situation or some sort of legal battle. These are all niches that you can drill down into to find the thing that's going to work for you. And again, I've done the ones on the right. These are the ones on the left that I've worked with on clients. Healthcare mastermind for healthcare business owners, people who, they need retention, they need hiring, they need training, they need all of the different bits and pieces that go into what a and you can use a mastermind as a vehicle to get their business to the next level. Okay, they need more leads. Okay, they need better service reps, or they need ways to recruit and have retention for those people. So that's another example of masterminds. I had a crypto mastermind that we did. So when crypto was really hot back in like 2016, 2017, a lot of people started coming to me and saying, "Hey, Brad, what's this deal with crypto? What do you recommend? What should I buy? How do I do it?" And it's a really complex topic. And I had been following it since like 2009. In fact, a little fun aside story. I invested $5,000 in 2009 into a Bitcoin trading app that was trying to be Coinbase, and it didn't go anywhere because Coinbase obviously is a massive billion-dollar company now. But in the beginning, there were a lot of people that tried and failed. So we were one of those. Had I just taken that $5,000 and put them into what was 5-cent Bitcoins at the time, I would be a billionaire today with a B. And I could tell you a lot of stories like that. So part of life is not just winning. It's part of life is just doubling down on what you know already. And the valuable asset there, that lesson was always invest in the underlying asset. So, these are all different examples that you can use. Again, we're going to have multiple different examples throughout this. I don't want you to get squirreled out on 100 different options. I just want you to see you can create a mastermind for pretty much anything. And right now, we're going to figure it out for you. We're going to get your pen and paper ready and take notes, and we're going to go through this step by step, and we're going to help you figure out your niche. And we're going to make it as simple as possible. This is a little bit of a complex topic, but again, just remember, simple is better. What's the easiest, the most lucrative, and the most fun thing? What's going to light you up? What aligns with your why? And what does your gut say at the end of the day? It doesn't have to be perfect. And you can always do one of these, see if it works best, and then decide to do something different. It's okay. You don't have to marry yourself to this idea for forever. Just do this once, right? So this is the the 2 levels down exercise that I talk about a lot with my clients is, we have a market, and in that market we have sub-markets, and in those sub-markets we have niches. So we want to go 2 levels down from what I believe is the top level market. And in this case, it's typically health, wealth, or relationships. People who are coming to join masterminds or get coaching or be consulted upon, they're usually in one of these 3 buckets. They usually have an issue that they want to solve or grow in their wealth, their health, or their relationship. So that's the market, right? Then there's a sub-market within that. And then finally, below that level, there's a niche. And we'll go multiple examples of these. So, if the market is health, wealth, relationships, the sub-market could be weight loss. It could be retirement, like, planning for your financial legacy or planning for your financial investing when you're retired, or it can be dating if you were in the sub-market of relationships. So a niche, for example, could be for new moms. If you make less than $50,000 a year, what do you do after you get divorced? Right, I'm sorry, these are 3 different niches. So the niche could be in, health for new moms, weight loss for new moms. Retirement could be, hey, what happens if you make less than 50K a year? And then the third one would be after divorce, right? That would be like the relationship piece. And we talked about that a little bit already, but this gives you a sense of where we're at. And if I'm going a little bit too fast or too slow, just hit me up in the comments. Let me know, hey, go a little faster. Hey, go a little slower. We're going to keep it all into an hour. And I want to make sure I don't leave anybody behind, because I had one comment yesterday, not a ton, but just one comment like, hey, could you go back to that slide? So I'm going to leave a little extra time where I just kind of talk through these and make sure you guys get to take notes. But don't worry about getting every single word. As long as you understand the concept and then you can select your niche that you're going to start with, then we're fine. That's the whole goal here, the whole outcome. Don't stress out over every little detail here. All right. So a unique solution for one of these niches, let's say you have, the mom who wants to lose weight and maybe she wants to try a keto diet. So that could be a unique solution for her problem. If you're somebody who is wanting to retire and doesn't have a lot of capital, how could you get into real estate investing with no money down? That could be a niche, right? You have multiple masterminds, multiple gurus, multiple experts that could teach strategies to find buyers for real estate deals and then become a bird dog or a wholesaler for these properties. And that could be a whole mastermind. And then from there, they get a little capital going, then they can invest in properties themselves without any partners. And then finally, somebody who's divorced, maybe they were married through the whole revolution that's happened in the dating industry with all these apps and Tinder and Hinge and all these different things. I like to call them tinge and hinder, because they don't tend to lead to relationships. They just lead to a lot of false starts, at least in my experience. But maybe this person is coming into that new scene and they see all this happening and they just need somebody who gets it and isn't going to judge them and is going to guide them to how to find their new partner, their new mate, their new match in this new world. Because maybe they've been married for 20 years, So that could be a mastermind concept as well without using dating apps. So let's do this quick exercise and we'll talk about, so this is kind of 2 things for me. This is like how we tell stories, right? We really want to get clear on who this person is, what desires they have, what conflict they're facing, and what their solution is. But also, it's really helpful for you to find your niche. There's an old story, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. And if you're in Germany, this is where this came from, I believe, the Little Red Riding Hood story. And it's a Grimm's fairy tale from way back in the day. But there's a less explicit version that we tell here in America, where it's not so gory and grim, but I think it's a really telling story because it has all the elements of a perfect story. And it starts with a character that's Little Red Riding Hood. They have a desire. They want to go visit grandma. And there's a conflict. Grandma lives over the river and through the woods, right? So there's a big bad wolf that comes along and says, I'm going to eat you. And the solution could be to hire a hunter to take care of the wolf, right? So if you were coming along and trying to solve Little Red Riding Hood's problem, you might say, well, if there's a big bad wolf and you're worried about it and she ate grandma, well, then hire a hunter to go get the big bad wolf. Problem solved. And I can connect you with that hunter, and I've got references, and we're going to have an expert mastermind on how to hunt wolves, and it's not going to be a problem anymore. So this is one example of how we can look at this as like a story that we're creating here. So who's your client, your ideal client? Who's this character in this play that you are trying to serve? What is their desire? Ultimately, what do they want? What's the conflict? What's standing in their way that's keeping them from achieving that? And then finally, what's the solution that they ultimately need in order to resolve that? So that's basically what I just said. Here it is written out. What's their desire? What conflict is in their way? What solution can you provide for them through a product or service? And for example, here's another one. This is super fun. So you've all seen Star Wars, I'm sure, if you've not been living under the rock for the last 45 years or so. I think it came out in the 70s. But you have Luke Skywalker, who feels called to do something bigger and to be a part of the bigger world that's out there, right? He grows up on this small planet called Tatooine. It's a desert planet. And he sees this large, vast galaxy beyond him. And he has all these desires to get out. And his parents get actually killed by the Empire, who's this evil, malevolent force in the universe, led by Darth Vader and his mentor, whose name escapes me at the moment. And then, what's the solution to this problem? How am I going to become somebody who can actually make an impact and avenge my parents and become, what I want to? So there's transformation that needs to happen. There's this overt journey that we're talking about. And then there's this covert hero's journey that's happening with Luke, where he's becoming this Jedi that can ultimately solve this problem and save the universe and restore balance to the Force and all the things that he ends up doing in this. So you think about it from a couple of different levels. Like, for example, my mastermind niche is I help entrepreneurs to make six figures and they want a mastermind, right? So that's their client. That's who I work with. And entrepreneurs, they subdivide themselves into different categories and niches, but like coaches, consultants, authors, speakers, leaders, entrepreneurs, that's my people. That's who a lot of you are. They want to make six figures or more, or they want to add six figures to their business through a mastermind. They want to have different income streams, and they don't want to work as hard. They want more income and impact in less time. So these are the desires that they have. And a mastermind is a great way to do that without a lot of inventory, without a lot of overhead, without having to be the expert all the time, without having to deliver and over deliver and work with one-on-one clients. And it creates a lot more leverage in your life. So these are all different levels of the same problem that you can address. And these are all different parts of this benefit statement that you get to create. All right. So here's some action steps for you all now. We're going to declare a hypothetical benefit statement in the Facebook group. So what could it be for now? Right? What person could you serve? What problem did they have? And what solution could you offer? Hint, it's probably a mastermind. And then finally, once you've done that and you see some other people have done theirs, I want you to spread the love around. I want you to give some feedback to at least 3 other members of the challenge and check in with your accountability buddy. I see some people were asking for accountability buddies. Just scroll through the posts in the group. If you're looking for one, try to link up and keep each other accountable. I think the best way to do that is probably just in a Facebook message. Just like, hey, did you do the assignment today? What's your niche? Work through it. And here's what I'm going to warn against is trying to coach each other or fix each other or say, oh, this one's better or that. You're all on your own journey and you're all doing your thing. And I would just wait until you have all your stuff together and then work with, the challenge material as opposed to each other to try to fix it. Although keeping each other accountable to getting it done is very important because that little extra push can keep people in momentum and keep people moving forward. And that's so important. So Sue, the Emperor, I was trying to think of the name of the freaking Emperor guy. Emperor Palpatine, was that the guy? Okay, tell me if I was right. Yes, Emperor Palpatine. Okay, thank you. And then if you're still not sure, I've actually created a resource for you guys on this. Maybe some of you have seen it already. We do give it away in one of our funnels, and maybe some of you haven't. But you can check out this document for the top 7 mastermind niches that I found that people are paying for consistently in my market, right? So there's other types of masterminds. There's health and there's relationship masterminds, but I just put together the ones that I know people are paying for right now in the make money market, right? If they want to increase their wealth, they want to increase their income, their impact. These are the ones that most people are doing. And that's just at marbles.link/7mm niches. So 7 mastermind niches, marbles.link/7 mastermind niches. You can go there and check that out. It's about a 3-page document and it'll give you 7 different options. You don't have to start from scratch here. You can pick one and they're well thought out and definitely have people that are doing them all. And that is the content for day 2. Now, the reason I'm giving you less content on day 2 is because there's going to be a lot more content on day 3, 4, and 5. And this piece, it can take a little while. So I want you to really get clear on this before the end of the day. So if you need that extra, half hour, 40 minutes or whatever we have today, I wanted to make this just really clear, really easy. We can go back through the slides, answer any questions, hit me up in the chat, and we could do that. And then we'll go to the Q&A session for the VIPs as well. We had a really great one yesterday. I would say that days 4 and 5 are going to be the biggest days. And the reason being is because we're going to be actually taking action that requires the input of other people. We're going to be doing market research calls. We're going to be talking to people. And we're going to be having them enroll, hopefully, into your first mastermind. And that's really what the whole goal of this is. So I'm not here to give you a ton of content that's going to squirrel you out and get you really crazy thinking, oh my God, what do I do? I just want you to really get clear on one thing at a time so that you can build, we'll stack this foundation that'll allow you to take action. So we ran a little bit short today, but we can kind of go back through some of the stuff. So if you're not sure about what your niche is, again, think about the top 3 markets. You're going to talk about health, you're going to talk about wealth, or you're going to talk about relationships. And that's going to be the focus of your mastermind group. And it's going to be for people who have generally a desire to solve a problem or to grow in that area. So that's thing 1. So pick one of those. That's step 1. Then you're going to go down to a sub-market, and that's typically where you take an identity statement, right? Who is that sub-market? New moms, recently divorced, what have you, people who want to retire, people who want to grow their business, people who want to market and sell their services online. Like, who is your sub-market that you're really targeting? Who's that ideal client that if you were to build a mastermind for them, you'd make it perfectly for them? And then finally, within that market, you're going to think about what do they care about? What do they desire? What problems they want to solve? And how are we going to do that? Hint, hint. It's a mastermind. We're going to build a mastermind for those people. And we're going to test it out by selling it to them. And if they buy it, we know we have something, we run it, we test it out. We say, hey, is this the one I want to keep doing? These are the people I like working with. These are problems I like solving. Are these the issues that I want to be working with day in, day out? Am I learning here? Am I growing here? Yes. Great. Let's scale it up. If not, no worries. We can start over again. And the key here is to get through these quickly so that you take your best idea, you test it, and you don't get squirreled out waiting for 6 months and saying, oh my God, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? Because there's never a right time. The right time is only now, and now is the only time there is. So that's why you're in this challenge. That's what we're going to do is we're going to pick something and we're going to test it out. All right. So again, here's some examples. If you missed earlier, I'll just go through real quick. Health, wealth, relationships, sub niches or sub markets, and then finally the niche that's going to be what you focus on and your unique solution. Think about these people as a character in a play. Start with the character. Who is this person? What do they care about? What's their desire? What's their ultimate outcome that they're looking for? What's standing in their way of doing that? And what could you possibly do to solve it? And again, bring in an expert. If you're not sure, that's a great way to go. Bring in an expert. Another example here, Luke Skywalker. Who is your ideal client? For now, this could change in the future. You might get more refined on this. You might learn more. You might have more experience in the future. But for now, what are they called to do? What is their outcome? What's holding them back or standing in their way or calling them to a greater adventure? And what's the possible solution? And then finally, action steps. You're going to declare your hypothetical benefit statement in the Facebook group. You're going to give feedback on at least 3 other members of the challenge. Again, we're not coaching them. We're just saying, hey, this is great. Or, hey, I don't quite get this. Like, give them the feedback so that they can improve it so that it's clear enough so that when they say it to somebody and they go to somebody, they say, hey, I help blank to blank through blank, which we talked about in the first slide, then we can get really, really clear on what's next. So, for example, Alejandro here in the chat is talking about, I'm thinking about creating a personal development mastermind, your best version type of, like best version of yourself type of MM. I think this kind of fits the 3 buckets you mentioned. Does this sound right? Yeah, but personal develop in what area specifically? So that's a little broad. I would get that a little bit more clear, right? Sure. Yeah. Personal and professional development. That's a top level type of mastermind. Let's niche down to what's the key specific area of my life I want to focus. Who am I? What sub-market do I occupy? Like, how do I identify myself, right? It's not about how you identify people. It's how do they identify themselves? Then what's my desire? And then what's the solution? And again, this doesn't have to be polished. This doesn't have to sound like a marketing phrase. This just could be really, really simple. I help blank to blank through blank. You know, think of all the businesses you've ever gone to in your life. Think about the supermarket. I help hungry people to stock their shelves through better prices and selection. Think about Amazon's benefit statement. I help online, or I help, you know, mostly Americans. I would say it's the biggest in America, although it's growing around the world. I help American consumers find better prices and higher trust with online shopping, right? How many of you have gone to a website where you're like, you know what? I want this product, but I don't trust this website. I'm going to go to Amazon and buy it. I do this crap all the time. Or you just don't want to be bothered with like figuring out their whole order system and takeout and all that, you know, and get your credit card out. And like, I can just go to Amazon and have this thing tomorrow. And I don't have to think about it. It's already done for me. So like, we don't have to have something that's so grand on that like type of scale where it's like Amazon changing the world. But really at the end of the day, every single business you've ever interacted with has one of these, which may or may not be articulated to the marketing or the people, but they get it. You just at a gut level, you feel it because you know they're the person, that you're the person they serve. They know what you want and they focus on that and they deliver it. And that's really what we want to come away with here. And if you're just stuck and you want to grab something, you can take my little cheat sheet there and start with that, because any one of these niches, any one of these things I talk about, you don't have to be the expert in it. As long as you're committed to solving these problems for yourself and others, you can start to bring in experts and get paid to do it. You can solve this problem for more people, and thereby in that abundance that you create, you will be taken care of as well. All right. And that's going to be it for today, guys. It's coming up on the half hour. I would highly recommend using this half hour to get this exercise done now, so it's ready for me checking out later and also tomorrow, which is we're going to stack on this every single day. So I'm going to cut this early. I'm going to let you go and do these exercises. Again, you're going to declare your hypothetical benefit statement in the Facebook group. You're going to spread the love, give feedback for 3 other people, be positive. Don't try to coach them necessarily. Just be positive. You know, give them, is this clear or not clear? How could it be clearer? If it's giving feedback, you're going to give them constructive feedback. Not like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, what is it specifically that you do with X, right? Or what is it specifically that you help with X? Or how would this person identify themselves? Or describe it like a character in a play. That's all examples of better feedback than, oh, I don't get it, you know? Check in with your accountability buddy, make sure they did it as well. And then finally, if you're not sure, check out our resource here. We want to give you everything we possibly can here. Again, there's a lot of people doing this challenge. I would love to like take my time and really go through and coach every single person here. There's unfortunately not enough bandwidth to do that. So let's help each other as well. Okay, great. That's it for today, guys. I'll see you tomorrow for day 3 for your irresistible offer, and we'll get that rocking and rolling. I'm going to cut on over to the VIP and do the Q&A here. But it's been an absolute pleasure to serve you today, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and we're going to have incredible content for the next 3 days. We're really just gearing up here. We're just getting rolling. And some of you, this is like brand new. Some of this is, you know, a little bit of refresh and review. Wherever you're at, stick with it. It's only an hour or so a day, and we're going to rock it together. All right. Talk to you soon.